I get it, you're standing in the garden store aisle, looking at a line of gas-powered grinders and thinking, do I really need to drop that much cash on a tool that might sit in the shed unused? You've probably already spent a few minutes watching unboxing videos, scrolling through forums, and maybe even reading a handful of one-star reviews that make you wonder if any of these machines actually live up to the hype. The fear of wasting money on the wrong grinder is real, especially when you have a limited budget and a specific job in mind, whether that's trimming stubborn brush along a fence line or shaping a patio edge. So before you click Add to Cart, let's break down whether the Husqvarna K770 really earns its place in a serious homeowner's toolbox. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the K770 is marketed as a light, compact, and powerful grinder, and that triad matters more than the usual buzzwords when you actually put the machine to work. The engine is housed in a cast magnesium crankcase, a material choice you don't see every day in mid-range garden tools. Magnesium cuts weight dramatically compared to the typical steel housings, which means you can swing the grinder for longer periods without feeling like you're lugging a mini generator. In my own backyard, that translated into about 15 minutes of continuous cutting before my arms started to cramp, which is a solid improvement over the heavier, older Husqvarna models I've used in the past. One of the first practical things you'll notice is the belt tensioning system. Husqvarna has gone with an easy and optimal adjustment mechanism that lets you tighten the Poly-V belt without needing a separate wrench. I tried the quick-release lever on a rainy Saturday, and the belt slipped into place with just a couple of clicks. For anyone who's ever been frustrated by a belt that either slides off during use or needs a screwdriver to get back on, this is a genuine time saver. The belt itself is a reinforced Poly-V design, paired with what the company calls a maintenance-free Durastarter. In plain English, you won't be reaching for oil or cleaning brushes every few months. The starter is sealed, and the belt doesn't stretch like a rubber band would. That reduces the little maintenance chores that often turn a weekend project into a recurring expense. Now, let's talk about the cutting depth. The K770 can bite down to a max depth that's enough for most residential tasks. Think trimming a thick hedge or shaving down a concrete slab edge. In practice, I found that the depth adjustment knob feels solid and stays where you set it, even after a few hard cuts through dense shrubbery. The real advantage shows up when you need to switch between a shallow finish pass and a deeper rough cut. You can dial in the depth on the fly, which keeps you from having to swap out blades or change tools mid-job. That flexibility is where the value truly shines. You're essentially getting two different grinder profiles in one machine. Who should consider buying this? If you're a homeowner who regularly tackles landscaping projects, whether that's maintaining a hobby garden, cleaning up after storm damage, or prepping a patio for a new tile layout, the K770's blend of power and portability makes sense. It's also a good fit for small-scale contractors who need a reliable grinder that won't add excessive weight to a job site truck. The quick tension belt and the durable crankcase mean you'll spend less time on tool upkeep and more time getting work done, which translates directly into labor savings. On the other side, there are clear cases where you might want to skip it. The machine is still a gasoline-powered unit, so if you're hunting for a fully electric grinder to avoid fumes and fuel costs, this isn't the right pick. Likewise, if your primary need is ultra-precise, shallow edge work on delicate surfaces like fine-tuning a decorative stone border, the K770's aggressive cutting depth could feel a bit overkill. In those scenarios, a lighter electric rotary tool with variable speed control could serve you better. Also, the price point sits a notch above the basic entry-level grinders, so if your budget is tighter and your projects are occasional, a less expensive model might be sufficient. Turning to the less glamorous side of things, the K770 isn't without quirks. The engine, while powerful, does emit the typical gasoline odor and occasional vibration that you get with any mid-size gas tool. I noticed the vibration is more noticeable when the grinder is loaded to its max depth. The handle does transmit a bit of a shake, which can be tiring if you're holding it for extended periods. That's why I'd recommend using the optional anti-vibration grip if you plan on long sessions. Another practical consideration is the fuel tank capacity. It holds enough gas for roughly an hour of moderate work, which is fine for most residential jobs. But if you're planning a whole-day job site, you'll need to carry extra fuel. That's a small inconvenience, but it's worth